You woke up this morning, got out of bed, maybe grabbed your phone, made some coffee, and your heart nearly killed you. Not from a disease, not from bad genetics, not even from bad food, from your morning routine that here's what cardiologists know and almost nobody else does. The single most dangerous window for a heart attack is not at night. It's not during a workout. It's in the first 60 minutes after you open your eyes. And the habits that trigger it feel completely normal. You've been doing them your entire life without a second thought. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what your heart goes through the moment you wake up, why mornings are statistically the deadliest time of the entire day, and the simple science-backed changes that could save your life starting tomorrow. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might be the most important thing you watch this year. While you sleep, your heart runs at its slowest, most relaxed pace all night long. Blood pressure drops, heart rate slows, and here's the part most people don't know: your blood thickens. Because when you're lying completely still for hours, your body doesn't need to push hard. Everything settles, everything calms, then your alarm goes off. And in that single moment, your adrenal glands fire. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your bloodstream. Blood pressure surges, sometimes by as much as 25% in just a few minutes. Heart rate climbs, blood vessels tighten, and now you have thick, sluggish blood trying to move fast through vessels that just constricted simultaneously. That combination, thick blood, narrow vessels, and a spiking pressure, is exactly the environment in which blood clots form. And blood clots are the cause behind the majority of heart attacks. This is why research published in the journal Circulation confirmed that heart attacks are 60 to 70% more likely to occur in the morning than at any other time of day. That is not a minor statistical blip. That is your own biology telling you this window is dangerous every single day. The moment most people hear their alarm, they immediately sit up hard or jump straight to their feet. This triggers a rapid drop in blood pressure because gravity suddenly pulls blood downward into your legs. Your brain briefly receives less blood, and your heart, already flooded with stress hormones, is forced to overcompensate instantly. For a healthy young person, the body manages it. But for anyone over 40 with even minor arterial stiffness, which affects the majority of adults, this is like sending a high-pressure surge through an aging pipe. Plaques that have been sitting silently in your coronary arteries for years, causing zero symptoms, can rupture under that pressure. A clot forms within seconds. Blood flow is blocked. That is a heart attack happening in your bedroom, before breakfast, with no warning. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you have lost significant fluid through breathing and passive sweating overnight. Your blood volume is reduced. Your blood is at its thickest and most clot-prone state of the entire day. And most people don't drink a single glass of water for the first hour after waking. Instead, they reach for coffee, which is a diuretic that pulls even more fluid out of the body, making the blood even more concentrated. Without realizing it, you are actively maintaining the perfect internal conditions for a cardiovascular event every single morning, before the water, before the nervous system has even finished transitioning out of sleep. Most people grab their phone. Notifications, emails, news headlines, overnight messages. The brain, still in a half-alert state, processes all of that incoming information as potential threat. The stress response fires again. Another wave of adrenaline hits. Another blood pressure spike stacks on top of the one that was already there. A study from the University of California found that people who check their phones within the first few minutes of waking show measurably higher cortisol levels for the entire rest of the day, not just the morning, all day long. Your heart pays for that one habit for hours after you've already put the phone down. When you're rushing or stressed, breathing immediately becomes short and shallow. Oxygen levels don't rise the way they should after a night of sleep. Your body senses the lower oxygen availability and responds by constricting blood vessels further to prioritize delivery to vital organs. Blood pressure climbs higher, and your nervous system stays locked in fight or flight mode rather than transitioning into the calm parasympathetic state that is actually protective for your heart. This keeps the dangerous morning window open far longer than it needs to stay. Cold bedroom floor, a cold bathroom, a rush into a freezing room. When your body hits cold suddenly, blood vessels constrict rapidly in response. That additional constriction on top of already elevated morning blood pressure can push numbers to genuinely dangerous levels in seconds. On the other side, Stepping into an extremely hot shower immediately after waking causes blood vessels to dilate fast, pulling blood toward the skin and away from your core. Blood pressure drops suddenly, and your heart has to pump harder and faster to compensate. For anyone with even mild undiagnosed coronary artery disease, and millions of people in the US and UK have it without any symptoms, this rapid cardiac demand triggers what cardiologists call demand ischemia. The heart muscle needs more oxygen than the narrowed arteries can supply. That is a direct pathway to a heart attack. If you are over 45, have high blood pressure even if it's controlled, have diabetes, have smoked at any point in your life, carry excess weight around your midsection, have a family history of heart disease, or have been told your cholesterol is elevated, your cardiovascular system has less reserve and less tolerance for everything we've just described. Your arteries are likely stiffer. Your plaque burden is higher even if it has never caused a single symptom. And your morning cortisol surge may actually be more intense because chronic stress, poor sleep, and insulin resistance all amplify it. Cardiologists use the term vulnerable plaque to describe something critically important that most people have never heard of. These are cholesterol-rich deposits inside the walls of your coronary arteries covered by a thin, fragile cap. They don't block much blood flow, which means they won't appear as a significant finding on a standard stress test. They cause no pain, no symptoms, no warning. But they are exquisitely sensitive to pressure. When the morning blood pressure surge hits one of these plaques, the cap can crack and rupture. A clot forms within seconds. A person with a completely clean medical history becomes a cardiac emergency. This is the mechanism documented behind many cases of sudden cardiac death. And in the majority of those cases, the triggering event was simply waking up in the morning. Before we talk about the morning itself, understand this. The quality of your sleep the night before directly controls how severe your morning cortisol surge will be. People who sleep fewer than 6 hours, or who experience fragmented, poor quality sleep, show significantly higher morning cortisol levels and more extreme blood pressure spikes upon waking. Poor sleep also increases inflammatory markers in the blood and makes platelets stickier and more likely to form clots. Sleep is not a lifestyle luxury. For your heart, it is a clinical intervention. 7 to 9 hours in a cool, dark, quiet room with a consistent sleep and wake time is one of the most powerful cardiovascular protections available to you, and it costs nothing. Also drink a glass of water before bed. It won't eliminate overnight blood thickening, but it meaningfully reduces it. Small habit, real measurable benefit. When your alarm sounds, do not sit up. Lie completely still for 60 seconds and take 5 slow, deep belly breaths. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Let your abdomen expand, not your chest. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. Do this 5 times before you move a single muscle. This activates your vagus nerve, the main channel of your parasympathetic nervous system, which sends a direct signal to your heart to slow down, to ease up, to come out of crisis mode. Blood vessels begin to relax. Blood pressure starts to normalize. That dangerous peak vulnerability window begins to close. Then slowly sit at the edge of your bed. Stay there for another 30 seconds. Let your circulation adjust to the change in posture. Then stand. This graduated transition from lying to sitting to standing is one of the most important things a cardiologist would tell you to do every morning. And it takes less than 2 minutes total. Before coffee, before food, before your phone, drink 2 full glasses of room temperature water. Not ice cold, because cold water can trigger unpredictable responses in people with underlying rhythm sensitivities. Room temperature absorbs fastest and begins restoring blood volume almost immediately. Add a very small pinch of mineral-rich salt, Himalayan pink salt, or a quality sea salt, less than 1/8 of a teaspoon. Here is why this matters. Your kidneys continue filtering and excreting sodium through the night. By morning, your sodium levels are slightly depleted. Without adequate sodium, plain water passes through your gut quickly without being properly absorbed at the cellular level. That microdose of minerals helps your cells hold the water, improves tissue-level hydration, and supports the stable, gentle blood pressure regulation your heart needs most in these first waking minutes. This is entirely different from adding excess salt to your meals throughout the day. The distinction matters, and the physiology behind it is well established. Step outside or stand at a window within the first 30 minutes of waking. Even on an overcast day in the UK or a cold morning in Canada, natural light exposure triggers a neurological signal from your eyes to the master clock of your body. This sets your circadian rhythm for the entire day, which directly regulates the timing and intensity of your cortisol response. People who get consistent morning light exposure show lower peak morning cortisol, more stable blood pressure throughout the day, better sleep quality the following night, and measurably lower markers of cardiovascular inflammation. Sunlight on skin also triggers nitric oxide production, your body's natural blood vessel-relaxing molecule. It dilates vessel walls, improves blood flow, and lowers blood pressure. It is free, it requires no equipment, and almost nobody in the US or UK does it consistently. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors and simultaneously triggers adrenaline release, causing blood vessels to constrict and blood pressure to rise. When you drink coffee during the peak of your morning cortisol surge, which is exactly what most people do, you are stacking a caffeine-driven cardiovascular response directly on top of an already elevated hormonal state. The result is more cardiac stress, not meaningfully more alertness. Your cortisol is already doing the job of waking you up. The caffeine at that point is just adding pressure to a system that doesn't need more. Wait at least 60 to 90 minutes after waking before your first cup. Let cortisol naturally peak and begin to decline. Then when you do drink coffee, your body will respond to it as a genuine lift rather than adding noise to an already loud hormonal environment. And your heart will carry significantly less stress in the process. High-intensity exercise performed within the first 20 minutes of waking is genuinely risky for people with cardiovascular risk factors. Research published in the European Heart Journal found that vigorous early morning exercise is associated with a significantly higher rate of cardiac events compared to the same exercise done later in the day. The reason is everything we've discussed: thick blood, elevated cortisol, constricted vessels, and rising pressure. Adding the intense demand of a hard run or heavy lifting session on top of all of that is more than a vulnerable heart can safely accommodate. Instead, spend the first 15 to 20 minutes in genuinely gentle movement. A slow walk, light stretching, or easy yoga. Let your heart rate rise gradually. Let your blood vessels dilate and adapt. After that warm-up period, your cardiovascular system is far better prepared to handle intensity safely. The sound of a jarring, loud alarm produces a measurable spike in cortisol and adrenaline that is significantly larger than waking gradually. The startle response fires your sympathetic nervous system before you are even fully conscious. Heart rate surges, blood pressure jumps, muscles tense. Switch to a gradual volume alarm, a gentle tone, or a light-based sunrise alarm that simulates a slow dawn. The morning hormonal surge still happens, you cannot eliminate it, but it rises more slowly and more manageably. For someone with cardiovascular risk factors, that difference in magnitude is not a minor comfort preference. It can be the difference between a manageable morning and a dangerous one, and protect those first 10 minutes from stressful news, social media, and alarming content. Your nervous system is at its most vulnerable. Chronic psychological stress increases inflammation, accelerates arterial disease, and impairs the inner lining of your blood vessels. Sitting quietly with your water, watching the morning light, that is not indulgent. That is clinically protective. Many heart attacks are preceded by signals that people dismiss or push through. Unusual fatigue in the days before, not ordinary tiredness, but a deep, uncharacteristic exhaustion that doesn't resolve with rest. Mild discomfort in the chest, jaw, left arm, or upper back that comes and goes without a clear cause. Unexpected shortness of breath during activities that normally don't wind you. Or simply a vague sense that something feels off, your body doesn't feel right, even if you cannot identify exactly what it is. These are not minor complaints. These are your cardiovascular system sending distress signals. If you experience any of them, especially in combination, do not wait and see. Seek medical attention immediately. The heart attack that is caught before it happens is the one that doesn't happen. Your heart has been beating for you every single moment of your life. It has never taken a day off. It has never asked for anything in return. All it needs from you is 30 seconds of intention at the start of each day. Breathe before you move. Move slowly before you rush. Drink water before you drink anything else. Let in light before you let in the noise. Delay the coffee. Protect your first 30 minutes the way you protect everything else that genuinely matters to you. These are not dramatic overhauls. They are small, sequential adjustments to habits you already have. But their combined effect on your cardiovascular system, made consistently, morning after morning, builds into a heart that is more resilient, more protected, and more capable of carrying you through a long and healthy life. Share this with someone you love. A parent who rushes every morning. A friend surviving on 5 hours of sleep and black coffee. A partner who hits the ground running the second their alarm goes off. Because the right information reaching the right person at the right moment is not just useful. It is a life saved.